All right, guys. Hey, it's your favorite Carlos in all of Edmonton Airbnb. I'm coming at you because you might have gotten a message yesterday that looked like this. So the good news is Airbnb is finally asking us to put in our licenses for our Edmonton properties. This is a great thing. This is a good thing. I know, and the reason why I'm recording this video is because I know a lot of you guys are great hosts, but you had no idea or have no idea how to get a license. So getting a license is super easy. It's one of the best things we have to help the city trust us and like us more. So in this video, I'm just simply going to show you guys how to get your license. How do you apply, what to look for, what do the different things mean? Just super straightforward on how to get that license as easily and as painlessly as possible. So we're going to jump right in. So now you need to get a license. So you pop on Google, just type in on Google, Edmonton STR license. So you'll see here, the first option here is a City of Edmonton short-term rentals. And you'll get this little beautiful screen that pops up. And it literally tells you, first off, for those of you who are wondering who do medium-term rentals, they have to be 30 days or less to qualify for the short-term rental license. If you're doing medium-term of 30 days or more, you do not need this license. Coming down here, you have the city's definition. There's two definitions of short-term rental: entire dwelling or individual rooms where the host lives. So over here, we have this beautiful spreadsheet. It's super simple. How to get your license. So you submit a home-based based business license application. The next question is, does this applicant reside at the short-term rental location? So this also includes suites. So this is a case of where you physically live on the property. If no, then you just go get the license, it's processed, you pay the fee, and then the license is issued, easy peasy. If it's yes, then you have to go through a little bit of a review. Pretty much the first thing they ask is there more than 2 sleeping units. Sleeping units are defined essentially as bedrooms, and then you either have yes, you do have more than 2 sleeping units, or no, you don't. If no, then they have to just approve you. If they say no for whatever reason, you'll receive a refusal letter. If you say yes, you'll just go and pay your business license fee. Likewise as well, if you'll have to go and through extra bells and whistles and hoops if you have more than 2 sleeping units, in which case they'll either approve or deny your application. You'll get a refusal letter, or you get an opportunity to give our beautiful city money. That's simply it. That's all of it. I assume probably about 70% of you will just say no to this question. Another probably 20% of you will say yes and then no, and then the last 10% of you will say yes and then yes. So this is literally all there is to understand how to know which license to apply for. So the way you apply is you simply apply online by clicking the apply here. Before we jump into that though, I'm going to go through here and talk about the different things you need to know. The first one is the payment of the applicable fee. The next one is the operation plan, which we will cover in a minute. I'm actually going to open that up in the new tab. So if you have more than 2 units, they're going to want a major home-based business license. So you can see here, they specifically talk that it includes where the rental accommodation is in a separate suite. So that's an important thing to remember. If you have more than, if you have a 2-bedroom basement suite and a 1-bedroom garage suite, you're over 2 sleeping units. Obviously, of course, if you're going to make any changes to your building, you're going to need to get building permits. And then you also have to supply your guests with a copy of this: short-term rental accommodation information for guests. I just simply put this in my house manual. All it says is, hey, please put out your garbage, don't park in places, be nice, and don't party too hard. That's all it says. And guests, I've never even had guests ask me about it. The other thing as well you need to understand is there is a chance, and I've never heard of it actually happening, but there is a chance that Alberta Health Services might inspect your property. It's never happened to me. They've never talked with me, but it's there. And it's, I think, more in case the city starts to have complaints coming in of more of a health nature. So as well, obviously, if you have secondary suites or garden suites, you need to have permits for that. So there's a little section here where it talks about stuff for neighbors, and also how to file a complaint. So essentially they go to 311. Now for hosts here, it also gives us information. There's a cute little information guide that they made years ago for hosts. It pretty much is the city just saying, hey, if you are a bad host, we're going to be mad at you. Don't make sure you follow fire codes, all that stuff. You can read that on your own time if you want to learn a little bit more. But this is the main thing that the city's going to care about. We're going to go through this quick because this is going to come back to your operational plan. So your guests are going to access parking. So you need to tell your guests about these following rules. Some places, people will park their vehicle and not move it until they need to go back to the airport. Some people block other people's driveways. You need to tell your guests about these different parking things. I include that in my house manual, and I haven't had any issues with it since. Waste pickup. This is a big thing. Garbage is a really great way to get complaints. So make sure your guests know about garbage. Maintenance. Obviously, you need to take care of your property. Noise. So essentially, you need to tell your guests about residential noise between 10 p.m. and 7 a.m. Usually, most of us have essentially a curfew for noise at that time anyways. But you can get fined, and the city will come after you for it, since the guests are your guests and you are the property owner. They have a little thing about responsibilities. Same thing. Accommodation information for guests. Your telephone number must be posted in the property, not on the property. That was something that we were all afraid of years ago, but just in the property. And you're not allowed to have your guests, essentially, they can't operate a massage parlor from within without the proper licensing, which they pretty much won't be able to get for a short-term rental unless they're in the film business, and that's a separate thing. That's about all the major information. And then they have this cute little tip section, which is pretty straightforward. So jumping up here, when you click apply, it opens up into a beautiful little Canadian thing. You're going to see a bunch of random stuff. So the easiest way to explain it is I'm just going to tell you what to click on instead of trying to walk you through the meaning behind everything. You're going to click home-based because you're a home-based business. You come to this page. The first thing you click is address. I'm putting an old address in here. Don't harass whoever lives there. Put in the address, search, click on it really quick. They'll pull it up. Business postal code, put that in there. Now, is your mailing address different from the proposed business address? So the first thing I'm going to remind you is this is the address you're going to put in here is the address of where you're running your Airbnb out of, not the address of your corporation or your lawyer's office or whatever. So this is where you're running the Airbnb out of. Is the mailing address different from your proposed business address? Obviously, it's going to be yes, unless you really want to receive your mail at your Airbnb. So then you put in the mailing address for whatever it's going to be. I'm just going to click no because I don't want awkwardness happening here. Business address is different from your your billing address. This is essentially for your credit card information. So I'm going to click no for this. You're going to need your business name. So this is either going to be the name of your corporation, the name of the trademark you run under, or just your personal name, whatever it is, depending on the system that you run. So you'll put in your business name. For this case, I will just put in my name. Then I'll put my business phone number. Bam, just like that. Then you're going to get a type of business operation. So are you a corporation? Are you unregistered sole proprietorship? Or are you unregistered partnership? Typically, if you're a corporation, they'll just want your corporate name, and in which case they'll ask you for your legal entity name. Is your business registered as a nonprofit? Your corporate documents. So pretty much what you'll have to do is you have to put whatever the number of your corporation is. Obviously, you're not a nonprofit unless you're one of those special cases. And then you're going to want to put in the files in there for your incorporation documents. Typically, the front page of your Incorp will work really, really well. And then you need to talk about what your business is. We are a corporate housing company that also uses Airbnb and other, thank you, spell check, and other websites to find clients and traffic. Now, the only difference is if you're applying as a unregistered sole proprietorship, you'll have to put in your first name and your last name. You'll have to put in photo ID. That's the only difference if you're applying as an unregistered sole proprietorship. I've never done the partnership thing, but it looks like it's a little bit more complicated, so I don't recommend partnerships. Okay, do you have an existing business license? This is if you have an existing business license at this property. So in this case, I'm going to click no. Do you currently live at this address? For this case, I'm going to click yes. Is the business property solely for an administration office? So You can see here, this is, you must live at the address unless you're applying for a short-term rental license. Is something about the minor home-based permit. Is the business solely for an administration office? So pretty much essentially, is this where, this is one of the questions where it's not asking about short-term rentals, it's asking about a home-based business. They're trying to determine, are you operating out of your garage, a mechanic shop, or is your business just happen to have your desk with a computer where you operate off? Hey guys, this is Carlos here in post-production. I just want to quickly emphasize to everyone, you are filling out a minor home-based business permit application in this website. You're not filling out an STR license application. So there's going to be a lot of questions that don't make any sense because they pertain to things like beauty parlors, consultancy offices, people running Etsy stores where they're doing a little bit of low-scale manufacturing. So a lot of these questions might seem like they apply to short-term rentals, but that's not actually what the city's looking for. Obviously, the answer is going to be no. This business is is going to be no for that. Business. Will you have business-related business at the home, excluding any employees? The answer is no. And the reason for this is because, I'm just going to click no for this. The answer is because what they're asking is there going to be people coming and going from your house all day long, clients and all that stuff? That's what they're asking. Next, will you have employees or business partners who do not reside on this location but will be using it as the workplace? Answer is no. Even though you're going to have your cleaners come, what they're asking essentially is, are there going to be like 10 employees in your house working there full time? Not, are you going to have cleaners come in for a couple hours, a couple times a week? Business activities and storage. Do you have items related to business stored at locations such as tools, equipment, supplies, and product? The answer to this, of course, is also no. Essentially, they're trying to ask, are you going to have, thousands of pounds of chemicals sitting in your garage? Are you going to have a ton of like things that are like tools, like heavy duty equipment, stuff like that? Obviously, the answer is no. Business vehicles. Will you have any commercial or industrial vehicles associated with the business, not including trailers? This one is no. I don't think your van that you carry your cleaning supplies in counts as a business vehicle for this. Will you have any trailers? Obviously not. Applicant contact information. This is where you put your contact info. And then you put your email address in here. Bam. Would you like to receive occasional emails? No, I do not want. Oh, sorry. Yeah. There we go. Then how would you like your documents to be sent? I always click email and mail. This is also because number one, not only is it easy to miss the emails, but they'll also send you physical copies, which are really good to have, put in the storage locker, all that stuff. Add a secondary email address to receive a renewal notice by email. That's optional. You'll then click next. Now, the only difference is if you're applying as a unregistered sole proprietorship, you'll have to put in your first name and your last name. You'll have to put in photo ID, and all the other questions are essentially the same in that case. So that's the only difference if you're applying as an unregistered sole proprietorship. I've never done the partnership thing, but it looks like it's a little bit more complicated, so I don't recommend partnerships. So then the next page will come to this application summary where it'll ask about who you are, all that stuff, blah, 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 billing information, all that stuff. Okay, so we come up to this page. It asks for business clarification. There's a questionnaire that's going to go on. I'm going to make some city employee upset by submitting this. So, bam! Don't hurt me. So it's simply a Google Doc questionnaire. So essentially you need to put your email in. Privacy statement, blah, 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 blah. City file, leave this blank. So this is where if you're renewing a city license, your business license for this specific property, you would put it in here. Your information is provided by myself. Bam. Easy first question. Tell us about your business. Provide a brief description of your business activities. So this is the part where you'll say, I am looking to operate an Airbnb out of my property. Awesome. Your legal entity name. I'm just going to pretend I'm a sole proprietorship. There you go. Business name, just sole proprietorship, just my name. If you're a corporation, put your corporate name or your trademark name if you have one of those. Business address, anything of the following. My business is being built. Does it exist or does it not exist? No. My business is located in an existing space that is being renovated. No. An exterior sign is being used and installed at my business location. No. Your business has movable locations. Please provide previous business license number here. So if you have an Airbnb, you shut one down, you open one up, this is your chance to move your license number here if you like. Are you buying an existing business? Yes or no? Then you continue on. Next, they have questions about your business. Let's see. Will you... This is the long, monotonous part, guys. I'm sorry. This is the part that sucks. Will your business produce, package, or serve food or non-alcoholic beverages? No. This isn't about gifting food. They're trying to figure out if you need a liquor license. Will you produce a solid... Are you running a distillery? No. Will you buy or sell or rent out goods? Your house doesn't count as a good in their definition. And adding little incidentals like shampoos or whatever you might sell, or towels, I don't know. It's not what they're looking for. Will your business provide goods or services at a market? No, you're not a farmer's market. Will your business will your business provide services or facilities for customer to participate in sports, fitness, or active recreation? Gyms, exercise classes, personal training. They're pretty much asking if you are a gym, not if you have a couple pieces of workout equipment in your home. Will your business provide entertainment or amusement services or amenities? Your Netflix streaming account doesn't count. Will your business provide stuff related to the appearance of the body or cleaning or repair of personal effects? So massage therapists, dry cleaners, hair dyers, stylists, tattoo artists? No. Will your business provide financial products? I really hope you're not loan sharks. Will your business primarily used as an administration office? No. Will your business provide technical, creative, or expert advice services such as consultants? No. Are you providing overnight accommodation or will you be renting out to a commercial property? I think this is where we finally click yes. We are providing temporary overnight guest accommodations. There we go. Will your business provide short-term rental up to 30 days at a time? Yes, we will. What type of property or will your business provide for a short-term rental? So a house, townhouse, duplex, apartment, secondary suite, other. So this is where you click it off. Is this property a condominium? No. I hate condos. Condos are the devil. Will this property be available as a home share or a shared home rental? Whole home is where the guests have the entire property. The host does not live. Shared home is where the guests share the property. I'm going to click shared home for this so that way we can get the extra questions. How many sleeping units will be available to your guests? 2. Will the sleeping units be rented out individually to multiple groups of guests or will be made only to one group of guests? Let's just say to multiple groups of guests. Will your business provide long-term accommodations? This is one of the areas where I've always clicked no, but at the end of the day, it just adds more questions. So I'm going to click yes. How many units will your business provide for long-term rentals? So what most people don't know is that Edmonton has a landlord license as well as a short-term rental license. Nobody's got a landlord license. Nobody does it. That's why I just clicked no earlier. But if you're being honest, you should just click yes. Will you provide any of the following? Commercial or industrial property leasing? Probably not. Guest accommodations in a motel or hotel? No. Assisted care? No. Congregate family living? No. So that's literally group homes. So you're definitely not a group home, even though you might have multiple groups. Will your business build, fabricate, assemble, disassemble, package, or grow materials or goods? No. Your backyard garden doesn't count. Will your business provide services related to construction, demolition of maintenance of buildings, lands, or infrastructure? No. Will your business repair appliances, equipment, or machinery? No. Will your business do any of the following? Sell goods or services door to door at customers' homes? No. Provide facilities for banquets? So this is literally talking about more of a banquet hall, and they're going to go towards the business license questions. Even though you have a large home, you're renting out the home. You're not renting it out as a conference center or a gathering center. So this is one of the areas where it can get confusing. Make sure you click no. Provide training instruction? No. Pick up and deliver goods, not including goods sold by your business? No. Provide designated driver service? Even though you might be okay with your guests asking for help, you're not providing that as a service. Provide passenger transportation? No. General labor services? No. Scientific research and testing on the premises? Hopefully not. Live animals on the premises and premises. So this one's essentially asking for things that aren't pets. So this is more looking for like backyard chickens or goats or whatever. Funeral services, preferably not. That would be an interesting Airbnb. Washing, fueling, or changing facilities, charging facilities. This is one where you might, I would click no if you have just an EV charger that the guest is free to use. That's one where I haven't actually talked to the city about. So if you do have an EV charger, you might want to talk to them. Obviously, you're not going to be selling firearms. You're not going to be doing electronic dance music. You're not going to be providing live or recorded music between 2 a.m. to 8 a.m. I don't want to know if you're providing exotic services, farmers markets, or a public market. Please describe any business activities that are not addressed by the previous question. I don't think there's any, so I'm going to click submit. Congrats, you've completed your questionnaire. They'll send you an email. So congratulations. So jumping into the email, you'll get an email like this once you finish this. It's going to say, hey, a summary of your applications attached, include your file number. Now, the next steps, the city will check your application. It'll identify specific categories, including information that might apply. You'll receive an email about the different play stages. Pretty straightforward. All right, so now it's been a couple days, and you get an email back from the business license applications people. Yay! They'll review your application, and essentially the first thing they'll ask for is the operational plan. So this is the part that we're going to go over here. They provide you a link to download the operational plan, and then you need to email it back and make sure you include your file number, case number, whatever it is. So let's jump into that. Click in the link. Operational plan, beautiful thing. It says essentially this is the part that they care about, and thankfully you only have to do this once per property. Renewals, you don't need to do it, but there are some things you got to figure out. So the first thing they're asking is for the business information. So we're going to use that one that we came up with before. Then your application number, whatever it was, I don't remember. Let's go with 555 555 555. Then I'll put my name in because I was doing this particular one as a sole proprietorship. Your legal entity name. So if you are not a corporation, leave this part empty. You'll then receive an owner or responsible partner. So they're asking who is the one who's going to be essentially in charge of the business license. Who's the one that we get to argue with and yell at if something goes wrong. So this will almost always be you. There you go. If you have a partner if you have a co-host company who's going to be running the show and they're going to be applying for this license, they might make themselves the person. It depends on the agreement you two have. So there we go. Blah, 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 blah. Let's group down. What type of property you'll be renting out to guests? You'll see a lot of these questions are similar than they were before. So we're going to be renting out a house. Will the host, we'll do a share home rental? Yes. What's the maximum number of guests who'll be able to stay in your property at one time? 4. Be honest about this one. Honestly, they only care with shared home rentals, the number of guests. They don't really care for the actual number when it comes to whole home rentals. They just want you to be honest and just tell them the maximum number in case something happens. So don't try to hide it and downplay it. Last thing you want is to say you're going to have only 8 people there and then you have 12. How many bedrooms and bathrooms? Let's just say 4 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms is a luxury property or whatever. Now comes guest check-in, check-out. This is the part where you gotta write the script. How will your guest check-in, check-out procedures be explained to the guests before they arrive? Keyword here is they're asking, how will the procedures be explained to the guests? Too many people write the big long paragraph in this section here. I will send the check-in info and check-out info in direct messages on the Airbnb/VRBO app before arrival and check-out respectively. I will also include instructions in the menu and ensure guests understand before arrival. So the big thing they're worried about here is the city doesn't want people randomly walking around outside people's houses trying to find the house or screaming because they can't get in the house. Check-in procedures. Business bylaw requires hosts to give an up-to-date copy of the short-term rental accommodation information for guest guide. So that would be the cute little picture that I showed you guys earlier. So you need to write your initials saying you will comply. Now, this is the part where you actually write your guest per check-in procedures. Guest will access a code from the message, which will unlock the keypad lock on the door. Done. Will the host meet the person and they check in? If yes, quick, you gotta skip this part. If no, which most of us are, how will your guests be able to access the property without disturbing the guests? They will have a personalized code to check in on their property. There will also be a backup key at a hidden location on the property. Also, a key at a hidden location on the property and a staff member on stand to assist. I chose stand member, I would say co-host. Bam. How will you provide the city's information guide to your guests? It will be on the digital house manual and in the physical house manual. Bam. Checkout procedures. They are required to do the digital. Will the host meet your guests when they check out? I'm going to say no. Care and control the property. So this section is they want to make sure that there's not going to be any issues with parties and stuff like that. So the first thing they're going to ask you to do is that make sure that you have a phone number where you can reach the guests. So I'm going to put my name in here. Then I can put my phone number in here. Then I would probably put my wife's name in here, her phone number, and then my co-host's name in here. Bam. How far away will be the hosts while the property is occupied by guests? So once again, be honest. For me, I'm going to say I am within the Edmonton area. In accordance with bylaw, blah, 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 you must make sure that, this is the part where it's really nice to get your minutes set up for this. So what I do is I get a decibel monitor. I go out to the street and then I have somebody crank up the volume on the TV or on the Alexas until it hits the decibel threshold. I then check my minute points on the ceiling, and that's where I set the threshold for when I start to get, or 5 decibels lower is where I set the threshold internally. So it might be 90 decibels in the house if you have a new build, and it'll only be 65 decibels on the property line, or it could be 65 decibels in the house is 65 decibels in the property line. A problem with this, though, and the reason why I like to be more conservative with my number and go 5 decibels lower or more, is if there's a window open, obviously sound's going to be able to get out of the house easier. So you need to make sure you promise this. How will you ensure your guests do not make excessive noise? I have a minute point decibel monitor in every floor to ensure that noise levels stay low. In the event of a violation, I will message guests, then call the guests, then head over in person. Bam, done. Waste disposal is the next one. So pretty much, essentially here, they want to make sure that they're not going to have City of Edmonton neighbors calling, demanding that peace officers and bylaw officers show up at 2 o'clock in the morning for a party. So you need to make sure that they have enough things in play so that way you can take ownership of if there's a party or if there's excessive noise. Waste disposal. So essentially it tells you garbage goes in the black one, organics goes in the green one, recycling needs to go in the blue bags, and that everything, you can't have a big pile of garbage bags outside of your house. So you need to make sure you have a garbage plan. And so I then go and tell them how I'm going to do that. I will have guests access to the rack, garbage, and inform/educate them on how organic and recycling works in Edmonton in particular. In the event of excess garbage, I will remove and take off site for disposal at a facility. That's the big thing. Make sure you tell them what you're going to do if the guests make too much garbage. Coming up next, parking. Let's talk about parking. So, they pretty much say they don't want to have cars sitting around that in places they're not supposed to be in or sit there for weeks and weeks and weeks. So the easiest way to deal with this is just let your guests park on your driveway. Then you don't have to deal with any of the problems. That's what I would recommend to everybody. And that's one of the first questions. How many stalls do you provide to your guests? How many parking spaces? I provide 3 or 4 or 12. Or if no, what are the parking options available to your guests? And this is where you tell them, our guests have access to street parking that's not, well, I'll just pretend that I don't have any. Let's click no. My guests will have street parking, which is not in a residential street parking permit zone. Obviously, if you are within the zone, you need to figure something out because you might have to say, yes, I'll provide permits to my guests to be able to park there. However, your particular zone works. How will your guests help to follow parking regulations? I have included a section in my house manual that they must review before before arrival on street on parking Edmonton. I also have a doorbell camera that I will check to make sure they follow periodically. Bam! Done. Now, approved version of operational copy. This copy must be made available to all hosts. Okay. Advertising. So you need to have your business license number on all your advertisements. So essentially, whatever that license number, make sure you include it on your listing. Thankfully, Airbnb is now giving you a section for that. How do you intend to advertise your property for short-term rental? I intend to use Airbnb, the VRBO, and direct booking on my own website. Done. Make sure that you have a license is what they're saying and that you're following the license. Other requests or other requirements for short-term rentals. All right, so licensee name, whatever today's date is, I don't know, 24/07/24. Done. So essentially this is saying the city is pretty much saying if as long as you follow the plan, everything's good. As soon as you stop following the plan, we may cause you to have issues. Honestly, I haven't heard of the city of Edmonton denying anybody licenses that I know of. So we got a pretty good group of hosts here. They then give you more tips, a little bit more things that are obvious, like functional fire exits, home occupancy. They give you reminders to check that you follow the rules of both the platform that you're using, as well as the evil condo board that was made by Satan. Just kidding. Condo boards no, they really are horrible. So then as well, and this is another piece of advice, make sure you have the right insurance coverage. I cannot emphasize that enough. You should be keeping your property clean anyways. And then also, I do recommend posting these. Everyone thinks of 911. However, 911 only applies to North America, as well as having non-police emergency lines. HealthLink, I think, is a wonderful thing to tell people about, as well as City of Edmonton. So those are things that I think are really good, and really nice that they include that on the thing about as tips and stuff like that. So then that's it. You then proceed to download your thing with your changes, and then you send that to them. So in my case, I sent them a copy of the house manual that I was including, and then I sent them the operational plan. So fire that back to them. Then a couple days later, the City of Edmonton sent me this beautiful little message, and it simply says, hey, we've approved you. Your payment is this much dollars. Your fee is for this long of a term. And then they give you options for payments. So you can click pay online, easiest way, pay with a credit card. So then right after that, you'll receive this automated, beautiful email that talks about your license and your property, that your obligations and everything like that. And you'll have one mailed out to you, and then you'll get the certificate that you can print off right away and save. So the most important thing, however, is that you have your license number there that you can plug in to Airbnb. So the way that works is as follows. You'll click regulations, you'll click start. It'll give you this page that asks you to add your number. So you just click there, you put in your new number, and put it in there. This unit doesn't exist anymore, but then you click, I certify this is accurate. Sorry, I totally messed that up. But anyways, as soon as you click next, it'll just say thank you, and that's it. That's all there is to it. It's pretty easy, straightforward. It's a little bit tedious and monotonous, especially if you have to do like 12 properties. But once it's done, and it's super easy to renew. So I hope that helps, guys. If you have any questions about this or anything like that, I've never done the primary residence one where I'm living in the property. So I imagine they're going to ask you for extra things. I have never seen it myself, but comment down below what the extra things are and what it looks like. So anyways, guys, you take care. It's great talking to you all, and I'll catch you all later.